Hello friends, welcome to Code Sutra. In this video, we'll be solving Leetcode 1027, longest arithmetic subsequence. First, let's understand what is an arithmetic sequence. An arithmetic sequence is a sequence of number in which the difference of the consecutive elements is constant. For example, let's take this example 1, 3, 5, 7. The difference between any two consecutive elements is 2. So this will be an arithmetic sequence. But as soon as you add 10 here, this will no longer be an arithmetic sequence. Why? Because the difference between these two elements will be 3 and these two elements will be 2. So this won't be. So then what is a subsequence? A subsequence is you can pick up the elements from the array in the same order. You can pick any number of elements. You can just pick 1, 4. This is a subsequence. You can pick up 1, 4, 5, 6. But remember, we have to pick up in the same order. We cannot just reshuffle them. It has to be in the same order. So what is the problem? The problem is you have to find the maximum length of the arithmetic sequence. For example, here 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. This forms an arithmetic sequence. And what is the length of this? The length of this arithmetic sequence is 5. So our answer will be 5. But if you look here, there are many other arithmetic sequences. For example, 1, 4, 7 and 10. This will also form an arithmetic sequence, but the length is 4. What do we have to find? We have to find the length. We just have to return 5. If there was no 8, the answer would be 4. So this is the solution for this particular problem. So what is the first approach that comes to our mind? The first approach is the brute force approach. Let me erase all of this. The first approach that comes to our mind is the brute force approach, where we can actually fix the first and the second element. The first element and the second element. Our first element will be 1 and 4. Then once we know the first and the second element, we will iterate through the loop again from this point, and we try to find 7 here, right? Why? The difference is 4, 3 and the next element will be 7. Did we find 7? Yes. So we can increase the length by 1 and we found out 7. This will be the third element. Then again we can find 10, right? So what we are doing here is we are fixing the first and the second element. Then again from this point onwards we are finding the elements which have a difference of 3. This is the first approach. For example, let me give one more example. We fixed 4 and 5. Then we will try to find 6. So once we found 6, we will find 7, then 8. Then we will be returning the answer that is equal to 5. But if you look here, what will be the time complexity? First, to fix the first element, we have to travel n. Then to fix the second element, again we will be going through the array one more time. Then to pick up the third, fourth and to find the length of the arithmetic sequence, again we will be going n. So what is the total time complexity here? It is n star n star n. That will be the order of n cube. So this is the brute force approach. But let's think of it. Can we optimize this? Let's find it out. See, what are we doing here is we found out 4, 5, 6, 7. But in the next loop, if we look here, in the next loop where the first element is 5 and the second element is 6, we will go on to find again 7 and 8. But if you look here, have we already done this calculation? Yes, right? We already done this. When we fixed 4 and 5, we tried to find 6, 7, 8 and found them. But if you look here, we are doing the same calculation again and again here. So if we can avoid this, we can avoid an extra calculation. So how can we avoid this extra calculation? Let's find it out. Let's go from the beginning. So instead of finding the elements which have a difference, let's store the elements which have a difference. For example, let me give you. So for example, 1 and 4, we know that the difference between 1 and 4 is 3. So can we store the element like this? What does this mean? That is, ending with 4 and having the difference as 3, we have two elements, that is 1 and 4. What does this mean? The arithmetic sequence ending with 4 and having a difference of 3, we have two elements. Similarly, let's take one more example of 6. So 6 will be having a difference of 1 And how many elements are there? There are 3 elements. So what does this mean is, ending with 6 and having a difference of 1, there is an arithmetic sequence having 3 elements, that is 4, 5 and 6. So when we go to 7 and 8, what we have to just do here is, when we go to 6 and 7, what do we have to do here is, 7 and 6, we know the difference is 1. If we just access this, we can add 1 to this, right? Let me explain that once again. We have the first element as 6 and the second element as 7. But we already know there is an arithmetic sequence ending with 6 having 3 elements. We already know, that is, we have stored here. So what we can just do is, we can add 1 to this and we can write, we now have an arithmetic sequence ending with 7 having a difference of 1 is equal to 4. So we can store this in a hash map. So how do we store this? First thing is, we'll be forming 6 different hash map. What does this hash map say? This is the elements ending with 1. This hash map is for the elements ending with 4. This is 5. This is the elements ending with 6. This is the elements ending with 7. This is 10. Let's add one more. That is the elements ending with 8. So now let me explain how we can form the array. So in simple, what we will be doing here is, we will be iterating, we will be choosing the first element and we will be choosing the second element. Now once we have chosen the first and the second element, we now know there is nothing, right? So what do? The ending element is 4. Then what is the difference? 3. We don't have any elements prior to that, so it will be just 2, that is 1 plus 1. Then again we fix the first and the second. Again here the difference will be 4, 2. Again 1 and 6 will be choosing, with difference 5 there will be just 2 elements, and so on it will be. But the interesting problem occurs when you choose 4 and 5. If you choose 4 and 5 with elements ending, there will be 2 elements, right? Then when we go to 6 here, 6 and 5 in the next loop, 6 and 5, if you look here, we can find with 5 the ending with 5 and the difference of 1. How many elements do we have? 2. So with ending as 6 with difference as 1, now it will be 3. Similarly, once you go to 7, it will be 1 and we will be adding 1 to this, that is 4. Similarly, when you go to here, we will find out what is the difference between 7 and 8. The difference between 7 and 8 is 1. And does 7 have 1? Yes, it has 1. We will just be adding 1 to this. And at every step, we will be checking if this length is greater than the already existing answer. If that is greater, we will be finally returning the answer. So, by this optimization, we were able to reduce from n cube to n square. But here the space complexity increased from O of 1 to n square. So we compromised our space to reduce the time. Now we both have n square and n square. Our space and time complexity both will be n square. Now let's dive into the code. First thing what we are doing here is, we are making 7 hash maps, or in this example we made 7 hash maps. Similarly, we are making n hash maps here. That is, we are creating hash map for every number. And we are choosing the first element. So I is equal to the first element and j will be equal to the second element. So once we have chosen the first element and the second element, we will be finding the difference. So what is the difference equal to? Nums of j is equal to the second element and nums of I is equal to the first element. So once we have done this, we are finding the difference and we are storing this in this array, in the hash map. What we are storing, for example, dp of I is this element and we are storing in this particular hash map. And finally, if it is already there, we are trying to get it. If it is not there, the default value is 1. So just like we wrote 2 here, we will be writing the default value of 1 plus 1. And finally, we will be keeping track of the maximum value in answer. Finally, we will be returning the answer. Thank you for watching the video. Please do like, share and subscribe.